Okay, there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about. Many of the other things are actually self-explanatory. There's not
Mm-hmm.
a lot to explain because, as you have seen yourself, it's very,
Yeah.
very simple functionality, right? Okay,
Right.
the one thing that I wanted to explain was the concept of curated fields. So, what happens is now, if you see discovery boards, would be
Mm-hmm.
available to the end user, right? So the target audience or personas who would be using discovery board is basically end
Mm-hmm.
users, right? You can give this
Mm-hmm.
access to managers, you can give this access to employees as well if you want, and so on and so forth. Now, many of these people they actually do not have the report writer access, correct? Which means uh, they they the idea is they should be able to create reports for at least their own consumption or consumption within the team, right? So what happens is you may want to curate the fields which are available to them. When I say curate, if you see a business object or a data source which is built on those business objects, they have access to a lot of fields, right? All the fields within that BO, but maybe you don't want
Yeah.
to give or enable or all those fields for use in discovery boards. Now, if in that case, you can curate the fields which are available. So, what do I mean by that? If I go to Drive once again, and let's go to our where is our discovery board? This one. So I'm going to open my discovery board. Okay, edit. I can again either I can copy a visualization by making a duplicate, or I can directly add a blank visualization. So I'm adding a blank
Mm-hmm.
visualization, right, by clicking on add this, and this adds a blank visualization for me. Now on this visualization, obviously the first thing that I'll have to select is the data source, and again I'm selecting, let's say, uh, so it has defaulted to the data source that has been used in all other visualizations, and I'm going to select
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay, now on this visualization, if you see, it is an option to show only curated fields, right? So
Okay.
right now it is showing me all the fields because nothing is
Yeah.
curated, right? So what I can do
Mm-hmm.
is I can create a list of curated fields, and the task is maintained field list. I forgot that task. Um, okay, so the task is maintain discovery. So the task is maintain field lists for discovery boards. So if I go to this task, okay, now okay, now if you see, so where are fields coming from? So on a report, where do fields come from? So what is the purpose of a business object? What is the purpose of a data source? So data source basically controls the rows that are available to me, and the business object basically controls the columns that will be available in my report, right? So when I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
curated fields, I have to curate fields with respect to specific business objects, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
all the data sources within the discovery board, which are based on that particular business object, they would automatically show only the curated fields. So, for example, I'm selecting
Okay.
worker business object.
So what you're trying to do here is you're only selecting the fields which are Needed.
Avail
Is that the correct?
Yeah, which will be available
Sorry.
in the discovery boards for creating those visualizations.
So
Okay.
okay, okay.
I don't have access in this tenant. It should give me, let me proxy as Logan McNeil and see. If it doesn't work, then so basically only these fields are available to the end users for creating this visualization. So right now, when I select, if you see a data source, workers for HCM reporting, this data source is based on the worker business object, right?
Mm,
And it is basically
okay.
showing me all the fields within worker business object, right?
Correct.
Instead of exposing all the fields to the people who are using discovery boards, what I can do is I can
Mm.
restrict the fields which are available for creating discovery boards. So maybe I don't want to
Okay.
give access to some, let's say, salary data or so on and so forth, right?
Mm,
So I can
mm,
create
mm,
curated field list. Okay, let's see if I have access to Logan McNeil. If I am not
mm.
having that access, then we'll try in a different.
Okay.
And then there's
Um,
one more thing. Yeah, go ahead.
is this applicable? Is this applicable for all the discovery boards
Yes,
or?
yes.
Okay,
This is
okay.
so
Mhm.
if you see we are making the configuration, let the task open at the business
Yeah.
object level. So all the discovery boards wherein that business object is being used. Okay, so you are working for a consulting firm? No, you are working directly for.
No, no. Yeah, I'm working directly for a customer, not for.
Okay, okay, okay,
So we recently, I think we went live in 2019.
okay.
So I think, yeah. So I did not go get.
Sorry. Okay, so if you see, this is how the task looks. I don't know what is the problem with that tenant. Maybe some security access is missing. So actually, when I go to this
Mm,
task, maintain field list, it should allow me to select the field list, right? So what am I doing right now? I'm
mm,
maintaining the field list for worker business object. And currently, if you see,
mhm.
only fields are added, available,
Oh,
which means
okay.
if I go and create a discovery board, I always have the ability to toggle it as an administrator. So I'll have that option wherein
Mhm.
I only want to see the curated fields or all fields. But then if you see, the idea is, let's say I am selecting uh, visualization, open, edit. Okay, I am going to add a new visualization. Now
Mm,
when I go in here and select the data source, I'm selecting workers for HCM reporting, all active workers, apply. Now, if you see, it is only giving me these three fields.
mm.
So if I go to
Yeah.
basic bio, the only field that is available is age group. Under benefits, only field that is available is location. And under this, the only field that is available is, again, because these are related, location, address. So in fact, only three fields are available: supervisory org, location, address, country, and age group. And the reason for that is, on this business object, these three fields have been created as curated fields, right? So let's say I want to add a new field. I'll click on add fields, right? I can search for a field.
Mm.
Let's say I want to add gender as well.
Is it because you have checked that checkbox like show only curated fields?
Exactly.
Is
So
that the
the
reason
reason I have
or
this,
the
so
okay?
this checkbox
Mm.
comes by default. I don't have to check it. So the default
Okay.
setting on a checkbox is it will only show up curated fields. Okay, so this is a completely
Mm.
different tenant. So, but I can uncheck this. But then that's because I have the admin access right now, right?
Okay, is this the
So,
toggle you're referring to? Is this the
right, this
toggle
is the
option?
this one, show only
Okay.
curated field. So if I uncheck
So
this,
what happens? Okay. Okay.
right,
Yeah.
now it shows me all the fields wherein I can build my visualizations, right? But with respect to curated
Okay.
fields, there are only three curated fields available.
Right.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so
So
how?
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that is also enabled only because you have that admin access. Like
No,
for
no,
a
no, no.
normal users, they won't be able to see
Yes,
the
a
okay
normal
the
user would
show
see
related.
curated fields only. Okay, so they would
Okay.
only be able to see curated fields. So now, if you see, I'm adding gender as well, and let's
Mm.
add
Okay.
this
Okay.
new curated field. So if I want, I can add curated fields. I can remove curated fields, right? So I can add fields. Now we have four curated fields added, and this is
Mm.
enabled.
Mm.
If I want, I can disable as well. So when I disable, again, system would show the full list of fields. And similarly, if I want, I
Mm.
can remove the curated fields. Now, if I go, let's delete this visualization and add a new visualization. Again, workers for HCM reporting. I'm clicking on add. Let's see. Okay, we'll have to refresh this.
You did mention about the show only by default. It enabled with show only curated
Curated
value.
fields, right?
Uh,
That is the default setting.
so, and you also mentioned since I have an admin access, I should have a privilege
Mm.
to delete it. I mean, sorry, disable it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that point I did not get it.
Okay.
So does it
So
mean, for example, if I am not an admin, I
mhm,
won't be able to uncheck that show only curated value? Is that what we are saying?
that is what I understand the security setting is. So I'll have to check what domain actually gives you that access. But I believe the end users would only be able to
Uh-huh.
work with curated fields.
With this. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now, if
And
you see, the
how?
gender is also added.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes.
So, see, I may
So,
be a simple
mm,
employee, right? I only have ESS access,
mm,
basic configuration access.
right.
In
Right.
that case, I don't want to, or you don't want to give me the ability to work with all the fields in the business object, right? So you only want to give me, when I say me, all employees as such, right? The ability to
Mm,
create simple discovery boards wherein the fields have been curated, right? I don't want
okay.
all employees to have access to all the fields in the system.
So the other point is, so
Mhm.
let's say these are all tied up to a data source and all that, right?
Yes.
Even certain users are, I mean, the data sources are also, I mean, controlled.
Hmm.
I mean, in terms of security, right? So, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm a report admin, so, and I'm not a payroll admin. So, let's say,
Hmm.
although I'm a report admin, not necessary, since I do not have a payroll admin access, not
Hmm.
necessary, I will be having access to all the payroll related fields, right?
Right. Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
is this the similar functionality works here as well? Although whether it is a curated or non-curated doesn't matter.
Okay. So yes. So see, there are two things, right? So so maybe I have not created any curated fields, right? Which
Mm-hmm,
means
mm-hmm.
all of my employees, they can see all the fields that are available on the business object, right? But then it
Oh,
doesn't mean
okay.
the employee has access to view that data as well. So even though I
Oh,
can
yeah.
see the field, so this works in exactly the same way as your report works, right? So the report
Correct.
may have the salary column, but it depends on my access
Hmm.
whether I can view that salary data or not, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Hmm.
Okay. So it depends on
Okay.
your access as well.
Hmm.
So that is,
Yeah, because when you said employee, right? So that's when
mm,
I was wondering why an employee should have access to discovery boards, first of all.
but that is the
And
concept.
then,
So
yeah,
Sai,
then,
the whole idea of
yeah.
a discovery board is that it enables, so who is the target audience of discovery boards for Workday, right?
Hmm.
So Workday,
Right.
the discovery board's functionality is so generic that you can also give
Hmm.
your employees access to discovery board, right? So
Oh,
even your
okay.
employees and everyone would be able to create reports or visualizations based on the authorizations they have. So as an employee, maybe I only have access to view certain data for my own team. Maybe just check the absence details within my team so that I can apply for my absence accordingly, right? So ultimately, what
Hmm.
visualizations I'm able to create and view would depend on my authorization. Okay. The second thing, if
Okay.
you
So,
remember, last time we spoke about sharing discovery boards, right? And
correct.
as
Correct.
I mentioned, see, on a discovery board, there can be multiple visualizations up to 10, right? But and
Hmm.
in order and each of these visualizations can be on different data sources, right? So when I share
Okay.
this discovery board to you, the only prerequisite is you only have view access on one data source, right? So what about other visualizations that are based on other data sources? Because you don't have access to those data sources, you'll not be able to run it, execute them, or view them, right? So exactly the
Okay.
same concept. Even though everyone I can give access to create discovery boards, they would only be able to create visualizations based on the business objects they have access to, based on the data sources they have access to, and within
Hmm.
data sources
Hmm.
based on the fields they have access to, right? So,
Okay. Okay.
irrespective of whether the field list is curated or not. So, even if I'm not giving you a curated field list, ultimately you'll
Mhm.
only be able to create and view visualizations based on fields that you have access to. So, you'll only see the whole list of fields.
So, okay, got it. Sorry, one last question on this. So
No
when you
problem.
said sharing, right? When you
Hmm.
said sharing is
Hmm.
similar to a report sharing, right?
Right.
What happens is, let's say I might not, I know. So let's say I'm a manager and
Hmm.
I'm trying to access all workers' data or something, and
Hmm.
I got I mean, active employees in my organization or active employees report, let's say. So
Hmm.
when I'm running it, I'll be able to see only my list of employees. I will
Correct.
not be seeing all
Correct.
the set of employees. So
Yes. So,
similar to this, when I'm
hmm,
sharing a discovery board, does it
hmm,
mean the visualization or the data, everything? So
hmm,
I mean, when they execute or when they view the visualization, so let's say I'm sharing my visualization because I'm an admin, I'm
hmm.
sharing my visualization to my manager, let's say.
Okay.
So when he executes or when he opens the visualizations, he should be getting only his level of access, or I mean,
Yes, yes. So
or
those role-based security would be respected, right? So comp
okay.
admin,
Hmm.
he has global view, right? Because administrator is a
Hmm.
user-based security group and unconstrained access.
Correct.
So he may see data
Correct.
for
Correct.
all the employees, their compensation. But you as a manager would only
Right.
see compensation data for you. So that is
My
anyway, those security concepts are still respected. Just like a
still
report,
respected. Okay.
right? So
Okay. Yeah,
exactly
because
like a report, it will only list out data for your roles or your role-based security. Okay. Then
mm,
unconstrained security group would give you unconstrained access in terms of rows, right? Columns is again
hmm,
controlled by security. So what? So columns, when I say columns, I mean fields that you can see. So can you see gender data or not? That is a column, right? And whose
mm,
gender data can
yeah.
you see? Can you see gender data only for your direct employees as a manager? or you may be an HR admin, in which case you should be able to see for all employees in the system. Curated field list. Any other questions, Sai?
I'm good.
Okay. Uh, Visualizations in discovery board using task. So the task is maintain field list for discovery boards. Okay, there's one more thing that I wanted to discuss, which is basically the size of your marks. So if I come
Size
back,
of?
mark size or the size of your marks. So we already know what is a mark, right? If you see, this is the kind of message I will get if I don't have. So access to certain visualization within a discovery board or certain discovery board itself. Okay, so I'll
Okay.
stop proxy. So on that particular visualization, I'll see I would only be able to see those visualizations that I have access to in terms of data source. Other visualizations would appear locked to me. I'll say you don't have access to the data source. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
now we already know what is a mark, right? So basically, it is the type of chart, whether it is a bar chart, whether it is an area, whether it is
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah.
right. Okay, now in certain visualizations, so basically your scatter plots or chart visualizations, we can control or adjust the size of those marks that are displayed. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me come to discovery board. So that question you had asked about detailed option to see detailed data, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean drill down data or detailed data. I don't remember what they are. Sorry.
Capabilities in any of the discovery boards. So your question whether we can view group by data and detailed data, Workday is already working on that. Okay.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. So I'm adding a new visualization. Uh, Again, I'm
Okay.
selecting workers by HCM reporting and all workers. Okay. I want to select this as a scatter plot. Okay.
Hmm.
X-axis, let's say I'm selecting age group. Uh, Age group. Uh, YX. So this has to be the is it the count because I have created a similar this. Okay, this is a matrix report. Sorry. Uh, let's first try with a matrix report and then we'll try it here. Okay. So gender here. Now these are my marks, right? So marks basically identify
Hmm.
how the chart
Yeah.
will be displayed. And I'm
Right.
selecting marks as this. I think
Mm-hmm.
I had created this with age group here and gender as color. Okay, now if you see, you have this size option displayed, right? So if I delete this, Now, so if I look at the current data now, it is basically plotting two things. One is the age group and
Mm-hmm.
the gender it is plotting in color, right? So in age group
Mm.
51 to 60, we have some 52 males and we have 32 females and a very small percentage which is probably black. Okay, so based on the number of people in that age group, I want to control the size of this mark. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing in count and placing it in this size. And when I do that, if you see my query reruns, so it is basically rearranging the size of the mark based on the count of employees. Make sense?
Oh, okay,
So
okay, okay.
earlier,
Yeah,
so if
yeah,
you see
yeah.
this is smaller and that's why the mark size is small. This is still small.
Acha.
This so you and this is possible for your visualizations of type chart, which is basically matrix, and
Mm-hmm.
also in scatter plot. So these are the two visualizations wherein you can control the size of your mark or the mark size.
So, okay, does it applicable only for the scatter? Is that what we are saying?
So two visualizations it is applicable for. So the first one is, so if I
Okay.
define the mark size uh, in a visualization, so the idea is you can adjust the mark size in chart, which is basically a matrix chart, and scatter plot visualizations. So wherever it is applicable, Workday would actually show you those options, the size option. So if it is not applicable, so let me
Okay.
this,
Okay.
right? So
Got
here
it.
as well, if you see you have the size visualization
Hmm, 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 hmm.
wherever it is applicable. So if I change the visualization and let's select, let's say, or let me add a new visualization. So it is defaulted to matrix chart. Let's select donut chart. Here, if you see, there's no option for
Hmm.
size.
Yeah.
Similarly, if I select heat map, again, no option for size. So the only option is available in scatter plot, wherein you can define size and your. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, okay, so in scatter plot,
Okay.
let's create a scatter plot
Hmm.
as well. So in scatter plot, it only is it it selects the summarization fields. So if you see if I drag and drop count, it is it is accepting count. So the purpose of a scatter plot visualization is for scatter plot visualizations in X and Y axis, it accepts the summarization fields.
Hmm.
So you cannot add any attribute fields. So what do I mean by attribute field? Again, let's say I want to add gender, and this is what I was trying earlier, right? So I was trying to add gender, and if you
Right.
see, it doesn't allow me,
Hmm.
right? So there's
Yeah.
no option to add gender. Okay, can you give me some requirement and we can build a scatter plot? Uh, let's say uh, uh, the
Maybe.
this let's see age. I want to build a visualization saying the average age and
Maybe something related to diversity. Like, I mean, how? how employees are getting paid.
Based on their
Uh,
gender diversity, right?
Age and gender. Yeah, based
Yeah.
on age and gender or something like that,
Okay.
if
So
possible.
total base pay amount. Again, I want to understand the average age and salary of the employees based on their gender.
Mm,
So gender can be added in color, right? You cannot, this is
correct.
what I mentioned in scatter plot.
Yeah.
In X and X, Y axis, you can only add
Mm,
summarization.
right.
So here I'm adding gender, right? And I want to get the size of this based on the count.
Hmm. Why was it showing only less results? I mean, in terms of
Uh, because so it shows only, that's because have we
average
added
age?
a
Is it
filter?
because
Let's look at our
average?
filter. Uh,
Okay.
we are, so let me remove this company filter completely
Mm-hmm.
and let's save this. Okay, now there are a few more results that are displayed. Okay, so if you see the average age, it's showing. Okay, so the problem is there are so many employees who actually don't have any age in their age is simply
Okay.
blank. So what I'll do is I'll add a
Okay.
visualization or a filter
Age
saying
is not
age,
blank.
age,
Not
age,
empty. Not
is
not equal to
equal to 0.
0. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay,
Mm.
so now it shows me that this is blank.
Mm.
Don't worry. So
Yeah.
299 males and their average is age is 41.75. Their average
Mm-hmm.
total weight is 92,936. And in terms of females, their average base pay is 70,632, right? And
Okay.
on what basis is the size being controlled? The size is being controlled based on the count. So the count of females
Call.
is 223, males is 299. If I
Mm-hmm.
want, I can control this
Mm-hmm.
size based on any other parameter, right?
Any
So what
other
I can
para?
do is,
Okay.
so let's go in here and let's say I want to control the size on on uh, on uh, on, let's say, what do you want me to select? Uh, on based on their maximum salary or average salary, or
Mm, okay. Age
I
group?
want
Oh, no.
age group, it will not work. So here again, in summarize, in terms of size, it only accepts summarization, right? So your mark
Mm-hmm. Okay.
size, one more thing. So mark size only accepts
Summarization.
summarization, because if you see age group, how will it control based on age group? Age group is 5 to 10,
Mm.
6 to 20, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of
Yeah.
age, it can control by count or maximum minimum. So it has to be an attributes summarization. Okay, it only accepts
Okay.
summarization value. Okay, so I can do that based on age, and I can
Okay.
build it instead of, so I can say average age. Now again, it will be almost similar, because if you see the average age is 41.75 year and 41.76 year, and here it is, so this is
Right.
average age 38.8. Or
Yeah.
let me also do that on total base pay amount. So that has very wide results. If I come here, uh, this one. So the average of employee salary. All right. So now it is giving me the average total base pay amount here. If you see 131,000 US dollars for males, it is
Yeah.
92,000 US
Mm.
dollars, and females, it is 70,000 US dollars. Right. So this way I can control the size
Okay.
of those marks, and this is only applicable for visualizations which are of type scatter plot or visualizations which are of type uh, chart. Make sense?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
All right. I think so. The other question you had asked me, can we change the color? Seems that is also part of Workday's pipeline. So this will most probably come in
Okay.
2021 R1 or in a future release. Sorry, 2021
Yeah.
R1. If you see, so biz level security, everything, so that ability that you only see data for your own visualizations, the dual
Mm-hmm.
axis. Now, this is something we discussed last time, right? Merged
Yeah.
versus dual axis. So this is all,
Yeah.
it just got delivered this release. But then if you see, you have the, uh, what, what options do we have? Um Customized color palettes. If you see under future, we have customized
Mm-hmm.
color
Yeah.
palettes. So these are
Yeah.
all options which would be available in future releases,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Sure.
It
Yeah.
logical sorting option, again, something we can do in
Mm-hmm.
matrix report right now, right? We can sort data on a
Yeah.
logical order. That is also
Yeah.
possible. The other thing is discovery boards are currently only available on your drive. You cannot search for them, right? Right now.
Correct.
You only access.
Correct.
So those capabilities would also be included. Okay.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
Workday is working on quite a few things, but then these are all part of
Right.
future releases. Immediately in
Yeah.
2021 R1, it will allow you
Mm-hmm.
access to certain additional calculated fields and so on and so forth. We'll talk about these as well. Right? It is
Yeah.
adding
Yeah.
few more charting capabilities and stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
this is also I
Sure.
mentioned, right? Drill down access,
Correct.
detailed data.
Correct.
So this is also part of 2021 R1. So the question you had asked,
Right.
is it possible? It
Right.
will come
Right.
in 2021.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So that was your uh, visualizations and the
Mm-hmm.
ability to adjust the mark size on a visualization. Okay, let's look
Okay.
at these calculated fields which are supported. So Workday is any which way is working on this. So by the time you actually start working, more fields would be supported. But at this point in time,
Mm-hmm.
these Workday, there are not every calculated field is supported, or not every field is supported uh, in discovery boards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the
Okay.
first thing is Workday only supports below fields. So first, if you are talking about Prism data sources, now we already know that we can build discovery boards on Prism data sources as well as Workday
Yeah.
delivered data sources, right? So
Correct.
every field,
Correct.
because Prism is completely aligned to a discovery board, so every field in the Prism data source is supported,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. The second thing is
Yeah.
global calculated fields or global calculated field functions which are supported in Prism data sources are all supported. So every calculation which is supported in Prism data sources, or all of those functions, and we'll talk about those functions in detail later, these are all supported
Mm-hmm.
in discovery boards, right? Okay.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to Workday delivered data sources, First is all Workday delivered fields are supported,
Mm-hmm.
right? The second, not all calculated fields are supported. So what is the list of calculated fields that are supported? The first one is arithmetic calculations. So if you have created any arithmetic calculation, they can be directly pulled into your discovery board, right? The second
Okay.
is
Okay.
currency conversions. So your calculated fields of type convert currency. Then your evaluate
Okay.
expression. So evaluate
Mm-hmm.
expression and evaluate expression band. Both are supported, right? The fourth one is
So what
ESI.
type? Uh, what type? Any type is it? It can be
Any
single
type.
instance. It can be date. Will the date be supported? Date.
We'll talk about that. Okay. So
Okay.
evaluate expression
Sorry.
is supported. Okay.
Okay.
Extract single instance are supported. So ESI fields are
Okay.
supported.
Okay.
Format date is supported.
Acha.
Right? So
Okay.
anywhere you are
Mhm.
formatting date, LRV, which is
Mhm.
lookup related value, is supported. Lookup value as of date.
Mm. Mhm.
Lookup hierarchy.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the fields which Workday currently supports. There are something which Workday explicitly does not support with respect to your Workday delivered calc or your calculated fields which are part of Workday delivered data sources. The first one is
Mhm.
fields with built-in prompts. So many a times you have fields, right, which come with built-in
Oh,
prompts, so not
right.
supported,
Right.
right? Second,
Okay.
any fields which are on global business object, so not supported. So if you have created any calculations, any of those on your global business object, they are not supported. Okay. Third, fields with below field types. So these field types are currently not supported in Workday discovery boards. The first one is date, time. So many of your calculated fields are of type date and time, right? Doesn't work.
Mm.
Date, time zone doesn't work. Multi-instance at this point in time doesn't work. So if you see, that is part of Workday's roadmap. Where is it?
Okay.
Multi-instance field support, right? So currently, as of
Yeah.
this moment, multi-instance is not supported in discovery boards. Okay,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
only simple text field is supported. Rich text is not supported as of
Mhm.
now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right?
The question there is, so what is the
Mhm.
difference between a simple text and a rich text? You mean the
Uh,
heavy text or the like, for example, job description or something like that? I mean, has is that
so
recorded?
rich text, what I understand is it includes those formatting options as well. So if you go to your Outlook as well, you have this option called rich text
Mhm.
and normal text. So rich text comes with
Right.
formatting options.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Got you, got you. Okay. So, I mean, the
Uh,
text doesn't support the formatting. Is that
uh,
what we are saying?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, in
Uh,
that case, the text constants does it support?
which one? Sorry.
The text constants. So, text constants are simple text, right? So,
I think it does support. Let's quickly check.
okay.
Never built a visualization using. Okay. Let's see. Do you have any text constant field? So for example, age, this is single instance. Uh,
Email address is there.
okay,
That's too
yeah.
much to ask.
Email address. Yeah, this is a text field. Yeah. Let's look at the business object. Yeah, simple text is again if you see full name, right? This is also a text field. See,
Hmm.
if you search for constant text fields, there is a separate
Hmm.
category called rich text as well. So there are two
Hmm.
categories. One is
Okay.
text. There is another type called rich text as well, right? So if you search for email, these are all fields of type text, and then you have fields of type rich text as well.
So does it mention the workday? Does it mention that it's a rich text or field text or something like that? I mean, simple
Yes, yes,
text.
yes, yes.
It
There's a
does.
field type called rich text as well, as I mentioned. So if you go to the field,
Oh.
it will give you the.
Oh.
So if I search for name, right? If you go
Mm-hmm.
to the field description, it says it is.
Oh, I mean, this is something new to me.
So there are rich
Okay.
text fields as well, but they are not very
Right.
common. But Workday does. So if you go here, for example, it identifies that
Mm-hmm.
is it is a field of type text. Exactly similar to this, you also have fields of type rich text.
Oh, okay, okay. But even the name can be formatable, right? So, anyways,
So as long as
okay.
field type is not rich text, it can be used. Let me search uh, job summary. Let's search for summary.
Okay.
Mm, Workday delivered. I can check some of those for you, but I know there's a rich text field. Okay.
Okay, sure, sure. That's fine.
Uh, okay. So we have already discussed on the ability. Now, what I can also do is I can restrict my data to I. We already discussed that we can rename the field names, right? So I can click here, or I can basically click on any of these
Right.
options,
Right.
and we have the ability to rename those fields, right? What I can
And
also do is I
diploma.
can restrict my data to the
Override
top n
diploma.
values. So I can sort my data. So I can click on any of this, and then I can sort my data. So currently these are the four options available, and as we saw,
Mm.
later we'll have the ability to do logical sorting as well. So currently logical sort is not available, right? The second thing, I can also
Mm.
define the number of axis grouping. So currently on x-axis, the number of groupings which are available is 100. But then if I want, for example, I can restrict it to only certain groupings, right? I can restrict my data or number of axis groupings to only show certain amount of data.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can also restrict my data to only show top n value. Oh, what has happened? Okay. What I can also do is I can basically show whether I want to sum everything else or not. So when I'm restricting my data only to certain groupings, so let's say if there are a lot of groupings, let me
Ma,
create
ma
a new
fight to
summarization.
makarna.
So I'm adding a
Okay.
new visualization.
Ma fight to makarna.
Uh, what is the error?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Let's go back. In which ways we have not saved. Onboarding. This is our visualization. Open, edit. Okay. So apply. All right. So I'm selecting, let's say, company.
Yeah.
All right. So right now, if you see, it gives me a list of all the companies, right? So what I want is, I want to sort this in terms of value total descending,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is how it is sorted. Now what I also want is to show a maximum
Yeah.
of 10.
Oh, okay, okay,
Now it
okay.
shows a maximum of 10, but everything else, if you see, it is adding
Another.
in others. So
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
don't want that, I can uncheck this and apply. So
Gotcha.
now it is not showing that other option. Okay. So this is
Okay,
basically
sorry,
blank.
what we
This is,
did,
mhm, yeah.
sorry, what we did for that, I'm so sorry. Somewhere I
Uh,
missed it.
okay. So this is what I did. The first thing that I selected was a new visualization of type chart.
No,
I
yeah, these I understood. The way you did that counting and you checked that checkbox, right?
Okay. So the first thing that I've
Admin,
done
yeah.
is I have sorted them in a
Yeah,
descending order based on value total, right? And right
value.
now
Okay.
I have restricted the number of
Ah, okay,
axis
okay, okay.
groupings to a maximum of 10. So if I don't do that, if you see, it is
Okay,
showing
okay.
me all the companies,
Right,
right?
right, right,
So what
right.
I've said, okay, only show,
Okay,
I know there's a lot of
gotcha.
data, but only show me 10 axis groupings.
10. Ah, okay, okay,
Okay. And
okay, gotcha.
everything else
Got
which
it,
was
got it.
showing in others, that is something I have to note. I don't want this blank.
Hmm.
This is something I can control with filter. So now I can come to filter and say
Filter. Okay.
company.
So the other thing, if you remember, I was asking on the sheet filter. So the
Hmm.
sheet filter, does it applicable for the entire sheet, correct? Not for the
It is.
individual. I cannot
Yes.
override it individual visualizations, correct?
Correct, 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 correct. So it is applicable for
Okay.
the entire sheet.
Okay.
If there are different data
Entire sheet.
sources, right? If there are different data sources, it will only apply. And your question was, what would happen if there are different data sources, right? So if there are different data
Yeah,
sources,
yeah.
then it is only applicable for those data sources on which that filter is exists. So let's say there is one data source called workers for
Okay.
HCM reporting, and then there are 5 visualizations
Yeah.
which have job requisition data source, wherein let's say there is no company, and I put a sheet level filter on company,
Hmm.
then it is only applicable for those data sources wherein,
Hmm.
or those visualizations wherein that field exists. Okay.
Okay. So I think what you are also saying is in a sheet we can have multiple data sources, correct?
Correct, correct, correct. So that's what I'm saying. Even if there are multiple data sources, my visualization, my sheet level filter would only be applicable to those visualizations which have the relevant data source.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That is clear.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I want to try that if I
Yes,
can
yes, yes.
select multiple data sources. Okay, very
But
good.
usually the
Very
standard trend is you create these on different sheets. Usually that's how we build it. But then that
good.
is Workday has given us this
Mm.
option. Okay.
Okay,
So I think
okay.
this is all
Yeah, yeah.
that I wanted to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
One more
Yeah,
thing you can download. This is something we have already discussed, right? So you can download this as a PNG,
right. Yeah.
right? You can also export it. So right now it doesn't give me an option to export this, but then let's see, can I export this? Here, if you see, I have the option to
Mm-hmm.
export. And this is something we discussed the other day as well, right? So only relevant
Yeah, yeah.
types can be exported. So scatter plot and heat maps cannot be
Mm-hmm.
exported, right?
Okay.
So if you want,
So
you can download this
maybe one
platform.
last question.
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
What
Yeah.
will be the interview type of questions? What will be the interview type of
Uh,
questions? I don't know.
I would
Okay.
have to think
Yeah.
about it because I have not given any discovery board related interview myself. But yeah, I can take you through those. No problem. Once we have completed Prism and this, I can
Okay.
take you
Okay. Yeah.
at least a couple of interview sessions, okay, on reporting and
Okay.
Prism.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect.
Sure.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll continue tomorrow,
Thank you so
and
much.
tomorrow we'll introduce Prism.
Mhm.